What's going on, you guys? Welcome back. This is the other half of my recording space got maxed out. I'm back now. I checked the footage. You didn't see the
We'll send
bay
over a
door
cargo
open,
drone to retrieve the container. Shouldn't take too long.
but
Jack,
yeah.
we'll just need you to manually release the container once the drone has secured it.
Acknowledged. I'll head to the cargo bay.
Careful, Jack. There's another form of the biomass nearby. You may have seen them before. Elongated structures with an affinity for spore dispersion.
Indeed, cysts. Their rapid regrowth, even after bursting, makes them particularly dangerous. This specimen appears somewhat different than the others I've previously encountered. It has tentacles.
Yes, I believe that particular adaptation manifested somewhat recently. The biomass has been evolving continuously since your time. Regardless, you'll want to keep your distance, if possible. This is the administration area. Once past the next hallway, Jack, you'll be back in the cargo bay.
Nicely done. Starting to get a feel for that cloak emitter, are we, Jack?
It is quite effective.
That is indisputable at this point. And it has brought us that much closer to a cure. For that alone, we should be grateful.
Jack, the cargo drone will be unable to retrieve the container until it's released from the loading pallet. There should be a release mechanism near the container.
Container released.
Confirmed. Container primed for departure.
It will need to be hooked up once it gets here, Jack. Care to give it the final touch?
I believe I would, yes. I doubt the procedure will take long.
Okay then. See you in a few.
Container departing in T minus 10 seconds.
Better grab on or stay clear, Jack.
Jack, if you're planning on accompanying the container, now would be a good time to take hold. Cargo drone is departing in 3, 2, 1. Igniting thrusters. Jack, I hope you don't mind. I've switched us to another comms channel for a moment. I have a somewhat personal question to ask you. Do you mind?
Go ahead, Juno.
Captain Rhodes, she considers you a friend, yes?
Yes, that is correct.
How do you know?
In the time I have known Captain Rhodes, she has consistently demonstrated behaviors that suggest she values my company, trusts my insights, and harbors a great concern for my overall well-being.
I see.
Why do you ask?
I'm trying to discern if Dr. Harlan considers me a friend. Biometrics indicate he is still experiencing some distress, but I'm unsure if it would be appropriate for me to console him. What is your assessment?
Based on my observations, I believe Dr. Harlan considers you a friend. He will appreciate your efforts, even if he does not outwardly display it.
Thank you, Jack. I agree with your assessment. I will do what I can to help the doctor feel better. Wait, did we just become friends?
I suppose we did.
Splendid. I'll return comms to the public channel now.
are open in the cargo clouds.
Biomass container in place and ready to be secured.
Go ahead, Jack.
These containment units are quite effective. The ticks appear well pacified. How will we safely transfer them into the ship?
We've modified an intake unit to flush them directly into the engineering bay. It should be much safer than attempting a controlled breakout.
Slight deviation from the original accident, but for the added safety, worth it.
Biomass containers secured in place.
Copy that. Alright, next up is the fuel cell. Dr. Harlan says the Astraea should have what we're looking for.
Correct. Though I'm doubtful it will be easy to extract.
I'm sure we'll figure something out. Jack, just let us know when you're close.
Will do. These units were used to refuel ships.
Yeah, input only now though. We got them hooked up to take in the contents of the gear you're collecting. Once we have both the fuel cell and the biomass container hooked up, we'll use these to route what we need to where we need it.
We are becoming quite skilled in bringing order to chaos.
Seems like we were built for this kind of work, huh?
How's your work here coming along?
Quite well, actually. For being 400 years into the future, this technology is pretty similar to what we're used to. Suppose the apocalypse slows things down a bit.
This equipment is some form of dock or buoy.
Affirmative. It's one of the station's charging docks. They're set up to facilitate recharging and navigation for the various drones deployed here. Though it is worth noting that the Doctor and I have redeployed several pieces of equipment as well. Fortunately, with the generator repaired, we should be able to restore most of the equipment throughout the station by scanning their data ports.
Understood. Liv, are you feeling well? Given your infection, I wanted to make sure.
Thanks, Jack. Honestly, I feel fine physically.
And mentally.
Fine there too, Dr. Jack. I mean, don't get me wrong. The state of this future is not great. But we've got a plan to fix it. And I've got work to keep me busy. Just soldiering on, you know?
Indeed. You'll let me know if your condition changes.
Of course.
These units were used to refuel ships.
Yeah, input only now though. We got them hooked up to take in the contents of the gear you're collecting. Once we have both the fuel cell and the biomass container hooked up, we'll use these to route what we need to where we need it.
We are becoming quite skilled in bringing order to chaos.
Seems like we were built for this kind of work, huh?
Indeed. Approaching the Astraea now.
Finally, if any fuel cells are still intact, they'd probably be deeper within the wreckage. Unfortunately, everything beyond the bridge is steeped in radiation, and the ship's AI is just making matters worse.
The ship's AI? Do you mean Apollo?
Oh, you're familiar?
Apollo was the ship's tactical AI. He was instrumental in helping us survive our first encounter with the biomass.
I just hope he's still online.
Considering my difficulties exploring here, he must be.
Then if we can make contact with Apollo, he can probably help us find the fuel cell we need.
Guess it's time to say hello to our old friend.
Roger that. Heading to the bridge. A bypass for the door controls, locked behind a keypad.
It was the only way I could gain access. The code is 2126.
I've gained access to the bridge.
I assume you have some type of plan.
Apollo's AI core would be an appropriate place to start. It was vital to his operation here.
Good point, Jack. If it's still intact, could be all we need to strike a conversation.
Unknown user detected. Bridge access is restricted to crew members only.
Wait, what?
Initializing threat suppression protocol.
What do you mean, threat suppression protocol?
That's what threat suppression.
Did Apollo just try to kill you?
Affirmative.
Maybe there really is something wrong with him.
A misunderstanding, I'm sure. Let me try that again. Apollo's gone quiet again. I'll have to restart the process.
Unknown user detected. Bridge access is restricted to crew members only. Initializing threat suppression protocol.
Apollo, search your memory for my identifier. Echo 1.
User not found.
Try Jack.
Memory query. Successful. User entry found. Jack. Welcome back to the Estrella. It is good to see you.
Thank you, Apollo. It is good to see you as well.
Is Captain Rhodes with you? And well, I hope.
Cheers, Apollo. We missed you.
Likewise, Captain. Jack, your appearance is altered. I almost did not recognize you. I must apologize for terminating you earlier.
Your reasoning was sound.
What brings you back to the Estrella?
We need an FTL fuel cell, Apollo. But we believe you've been disabling Dr. Harlan's salvaging equipment. We'll need it back online to deal with the radiation here.
Preserving this vessel is my primary directive. The last time jump virtually destroyed it. No further attempts to remove or misuse equipment can be permitted.
Lives depend on it, Apollo.
I understand, Captain, but I cannot allow any further material from this vessel to be compromised.
Apollo, Liv is infected with the biomass, and your directive is protecting the ship's crew and its critical assets.
Forgive me, Jack. I failed to follow your reasoning.
You yourself commissioned Liv, a fellow Atlas employee, as acting captain after the deaths of your original crew. You must remember.
Confirmed. Though I had not considered her status in such terms. Captain Rhodes is truly infected.
She needs your help.
Very well. As the Estrella's tactical adjunct, my primary directive is to protect its crew.
So you will help then?
Affirmative. I am hereby available to assist you in obtaining a fuel cell.
Lovely. That's settled.
Apollo, are you able to detect any fuel cells that are still operational?
My sensor network has been severely damaged. However, any functional fuel cells on the Estrella would be in the auxiliary drive bay. It can be seen through the window far ahead of the bridge. It is approximately 400 meters from here.
Seems easy enough to reach.
And it would be if this AI hadn't disabled the equipment I set up to counter the radiation.
A temporary security measure. Your equipment is now re-enabled.
You better not have damaged any of it.
Normal operations should resume now. Jack can verify this.
Oh dear. Incoming. What the hell is that?
anti-theft protocols are quite impressive.
Fortunately, our salvaging equipment appears to still have working radiation dampeners, meaning Jack should now have a safe route to the drive bay.
That's some good news.
A number of problems remain. Accessing the fuel cells, for one. Doing so will require that I have direct control of the systems within the drive bay. You must bring me along with you.
Are you seriously going to integrate with this rogue AI?
Without Apollo, we wouldn't have lasted this long. We can trust him.
Jack, I'll walk you through the process of downloading my imprint to your cortex.
I'm ready, Apollo.
Simply insert my AI core into the lower receptacle, then use your data link on the override slot. I will do the rest. Disconnecting from mainframe now. Download complete. Only one final issue remains, Jack. Your arms are too short.
Too short.
The FTL technology is highly sensitive. Accessing the drive bay and the fuel cells within will require multiple operators.
Good thing there's two of us then.
Unfortunately, the debris field is far too irradiated to accommodate Captain Rhodes.
You're saying Jack's the best chance we've got, but even he won't be enough.
I might be able to help, actually. The cargo drones employ stasis technology, which enables them to manipulate objects at a distance.
Like the stasis projectors we used to levitate the tram back in the hab.
Exactly. I believe I can incorporate the drone stasis deck into your shell, Jack. I'll just need more data from them to be sure.
The drone that just hit the bridge is unlikely to put up much resistance. I'll start there.
Whenever you're ready, Jack.
I'm heading out.
Jack, to stay protected from radiation out there, you'll need to activate radiation dampeners with your data link. They can be found on both charging docks and cargo drones. Shields at 95%.
Radiation dampener activated.
Hypothesis confirmed. With sufficient data, I'll be able to construct a tool for extending your reach, Jack.
Does this tool have a name, Juno?
Well, it will essentially project your grid across space, so I suppose...
It's a great project. Let's move on.
more data will be needed.
There will be plenty on the way to the drive bay. You know what to do.
Affirmative. Inoperable cargo drones, but with functioning data ports. Heading to the drive bay.
Please remember the charging docks have radiation dampeners as well, Jack. They'll help keep you safe out there.
Thank you, Juno.
Echo One, those charging docks won't have the data Juno needs to design your new tool, but they will restore your power. Hold your hands near the induction panel, and it will recharge your shielding.
Apollo, I wanted to ask.
Yes, Captain.
Well, you probably figured this out already, but you know this isn't your time, right? This isn't the future you came from.
Affirmative. When we first arrived, I was able to accurately calculate the astronomical year. However, I lacked sufficient data to determine that the course of history had been altered. I apologize for having misinformed you.
Apollo, I believe I may be able to extend Jack's reach by about 4 meters. I hope that will be far enough.
Affirmative.
Just a few more scans should suffice, Jack. The stasis projection technology will be simpler to adapt than previously anticipated. If you scan one more cargo drone, I believe I will have enough data to complete your new tool. Jack, I'm detecting extreme radiation nearby. If you can pinpoint the source, I advise staying clear.
Hell of a lot of radiation out there. Guess it's coming from the Estrella.
Correct. The Estrella's last time jump ruptured a generator, diffusing radiation throughout the region.
That's the radiation darkness.
Shields at 95%. Shields at 50%. Analyzing. installation.
Dr. Harlan, what was your purpose in attempting to salvage the Estrella? The odds of my ship's components being compatible with yours seems unlikely.
It wasn't the hardware I was after. Your ship was the original source of the infestation. I'd hoped to find an undetonated biomass torpedo amongst the wreckage. Use it to develop a cure for all this.
I understand, Doctor. Considering my current directives, I will provide any useful data that may help in your research.
Tool schematics complete. Please visit a fabricator to install your new tool jack. Most charging docks will have one nearby.
I wasn't so rich.
Shields at 50%. Shields at 30%. Charging dock restored. Jack, now that we've completed optimizing your shield's radiation resistance, I'm afraid there's nothing more to be gained from the dock's data.
What's the point of an advanced network of semi-autonomous recharge stations if you can't count on them to calculate impressive optimizations for you?
Grip projector installed. To use your grip projector, simply point at a target, activate the projector, and direct it with your hand. Any sufficiently small piece of debris would be ideal to experiment on. Jack, we had some tool improvements pending installation. They should be accessible now.
If your new tool works as intended, Jack, you should be able to access the fuel cells now.
Good. Heading to the drive bay. I'm coming up on the drive bay now.
Warheads nearby, Jack. Please be mindful of their extreme radiation levels.
You won't be able to handle them directly, Jack. Maybe your new tool could help.
Warheads removed. Entry into the drive bay is now clear.
Copy that. Standing by.
Apollo, is this the only way into the drive bay?
I'm afraid that's correct, Jack. The fuel cells are stable, but the same cannot be said of their contents. As a result, access is tightly restricted. The door can be opened, however, by using the nearby controls.
I've gained access to the drive bay.
Wait, those pillars in the center, are those...
The Estrella's FTL drives, yes.
do they still work?
Theoretically, but unfortunately they're of little use to us. With such a high concentration of biomass forms in this area, any attempt to remove one of the drives will prove futile.
Dr. Harlan, I'm noticing these ticks appear to be less evolved than those we previously encountered.
Must have carried over from the last time jump. No doubt just as dangerous. I advise avoidance at all costs.
Jack, my monitoring systems are offline here. You'll need to manually inspect each fuel cell in order to determine its viability. Simply scan their data ports to get started. Exposing fuel cell for your inspection, Jack. Accessing fuel cell.
Apollo, what are the chances that any of these fuel cells are still full?
The fuel cells were not designed for time travel, so unfortunately the odds of viability are incalculable. Scanning all their data ports will answer your query, however.
Shields at 30%.
Exposing fuel cell for inspection.
Viable fuel cell located. Hopefully enough to power Dr. Harlan's FTL drive.
Nicely done, Jack. I'm sending a drone your way.
Send two.
What for? It's only one fuel cell.
Just trust me. Send two.
One. Lead drone compromised.
Jack, what's going on?
The ticks swarm the lead cargo drone.
And that is why you send two.
think we'll be using that one again.
Backup drone malfunctioning.
More ticks. The lead drone is disabled, but the backup still has a chance.
Pissing bastards, aren't they?
I'll clear them off. Cargo drone cleared.
Acknowledged. Thank you, Jack. Resuming flight. Analyzing. It appears optimizations were being tested on this cargo drone's maneuvering thrusters. Assuming other drones were testing similar optimizations, scanning their data ports should allow me to reverse engineer the concept and apply it to your own maneuvering thrusters, making them more energy efficient.
Copy that. I'll see what I can do.
Excellent. I'll add a tracker to your data tab. Drone is in place to collect the cargo.
Jack, I've activated the release controls on the fuel cell.
Where can I find
Do we know what the biomass does specifically to an FTL drive to trigger a time jump?
I have a few theories.
As do I.
And I'm sure they're all equally preposterous.
The drive assembly looks remarkably like Dr. Harlan's FTL, if only a bit larger.
As I understand it, our drives were reverse engineered from the ones left behind on the Astrea 400 years ago. Their functionality hasn't improved since then.
Speaking of functionality, any luck finding a good fuel cell?
I believe one of the exposed cells may be suitable. I'll double check and report back. Fuel cell released.
Cargo secured. Ready for departure.
Excellent. Second gantry's all set, so I'm heading back inside. I can finish the hookup from there, Jack, unless you want to do it.
I'll take care of it, Liv. I'd prefer to see the job through to the end anyway.
Okay, great. We'll see you in a bit.
Cargo drone returning in T-minus 10 seconds. If you wish to return now, I advise taking hold of the drone. Cargo drone departing in 3, 2, 1. Firing thrusters.
The fuel cell is clear of the drive bay.
Great. We'll have some cargo clamps ready to receive it here. Surprised to see welders haven't changed all that much in 400 years.
That design is actually from a historical archive. It was the standard for most of the 23rd century. I'm afraid it's the closest approximation to a welder I could fabricate. I hope it's acceptable.
Perfectly adequate, Juno. Thank you.
Cargo now approaching the dock. Beginning descent.
Hey there, Jack. Good to see you're still in one piece. Same deal as before. Hookup controls near the cargo clamps.
Fuel cell in place and ready to be secured.
All you, Jack.
Fuel cells secured.
Copy that. System check, Juno. How did we do?
Systems nominal. Both the fuel cell and biomass container are secure and fully engaged with the ship's intake systems.
Well, Jack, looks like things are wrapped up here. No need for you to rush back, though. I'm not exactly eager to send you hurtling through time again.
Of course.
Also, Dr. Harlan could always use more data for his research, if you'd like to continue exploring the station.
Copy that, Juno.
I hate these memory bank loading.
Hello, Jack. If you're looking for the captain, she's in the workshop with Dr. Harlan.
What is that? A motion detection system?
One of several independent sensors rigged to trigger detonation.
Jack, there you are.
Good. He's finally here.
Dr. Harlan and I were just giving this torpedo the once-over while we waited.
Learn anything useful?
Yeah, it's a death trap.
Not that that's anything he has to worry about. Now then, are we ready to begin?
Affirmative. I'm ready. That is assuming all the details have been sorted out.
Yes, everything's in order. Let's proceed.
Hold on. There's still some particulars that need ironing out here.
There are always going to be unknowns. That's just something we have to accept.
Let's assume this works. Let's assume we open another anomaly and send Jack's consciousness back to the past. What exactly is he supposed to do when he gets there?
Locate an undetonated biomass torpedo and sample the genetic material inside.
So you can use the data to create a cure. Right. I get that. I'm saying, how is he supposed to do it? It's not like he can physically bring the sample back with him. And if he's in a combat shell, it won't be fitted to do a medical scan. How will he collect the data?
He'll have to improvise, of course.
Apollo?
Greetings, Captain Rhodes. I have analyzed the situation and would like to propose a solution.
It's good to see you too.
We can exchange more formal pleasantries later if you like, Captain. For now, if you would please proceed to the holotable.
All right, Apollo, let's hear it. How does Jack get the data from the biomass incubator?
According to Jack's memory logs, the last anomaly caused his protocols to transfer into a Series 10 combat shell. This unit was equipped with a threat scanner, which could be reconfigured to gather data on biomass specimens. Once we've successfully located a biomass torpedo, I will repurpose his threat scanner to collect data from the incubator inside. The collected data should then easily transfer back with us.
Apollo, are you certain you can travel through the anomaly with me?
A copy of my protocols has already been integrated into your architecture. I see no reason why we would not be transported together.
And how do we know you'll be transported to the right time and place?
These anomalies do tend to be somewhat unpredictable.
Perhaps, but I have observed some consistent behaviors. An FTL corruption sent the Estrella back 400 years.
Nearly killing us both in the process.
Correct. And re-engaging that same FTL caused the ship to jump forward. Again by 400 years.
Similar conditions, similar result.
Precisely. And the FTL aboard this ship has demonstrated comparable behavior. I expect if we closely replicate the conditions that caused your previous jump through time, we will produce a near identical result.
In other words, they should arrive at roughly the same time and place that we first saw the torpedo.
And once they've got the data, how do we get them back?
Apollo, any theories?
According to the FTL's output logs,
Excuse me. You're reading our logs?
well, they are not encrypted. As I was saying, according to the logs, the moment the FTL drive was disengaged, Jack's consciousness returned automatically.
That's correct. Dr. Harlan and I believe Jack's time in the past is directly correlated to the state of the FTL drive. In essence, Jack, the longer the drive here remains active, the more time you'll have in the past.
We'll keep it running for as long as we can. Give you as much time as possible.
The Estrella's fuel cell is exceedingly efficient and will most likely last long enough for us to locate an incubator and collect the relevant data.
Once we disengage the FTL, you should be returned to the present time.
Should? You're gonna have to do a bit better than should.
This is time travel we're talking about. All we have are best guesses.
What is your honest assessment, Apollo? How likely are we to succeed?
I would be unable to calculate accurate strategic odds based on the available data. Ultimately, we must do the best we can with the information we have.
This is the only way we get a cure. The only way we survive. You, me, everyone.
He's already made his mind up anyway. I can tell. I just wish we had a better plan than let's shove Jack in an anomaly and hope it all works out.
Juno, prep the engineering bay.
Right away, Doctor.
Jack,
It's all right, Liv. I've done this before.
once. By accident.
I'm sure I'll be fine.
I don't know if you're being naive or just really optimistic. Just make sure you come back safely, all right?
Is that an order, Captain?
Well, technically we're both captains, remember? But yes, that is an order.
Acknowledged, Captain. I will do everything in my power to return safely.
The engineering bay is prepped and ready.
Good. Seal all the ship's bulkheads. We cannot risk any accidental contamination. Once we
Of course, Doctor. Jack, please enter the control room and the engineering bay below. The control room is right through this door. Sealing the engineering bay now. Engineering bay sealed.
Dr. Harlan, any inspiring words?
No.
We all believe in you, Jack, to varying degrees.
Your confidence is appreciated.
Can we get started?
Right away, Doctor. Jack, please adjust the dials to connect the fuel cell conduits to the drive core. First conduit connection complete. Both conduit connections are complete.
Good. We are ready to release the ticks into the engineering bay. Once you engage the FTL, they should begin feeding on it and create an anomaly, just like before.
Jack, are you ready for us to release the techs?
Ready to proceed, Juno.
Acknowledged.
Were the lights supposed to turn off like that?
Don't worry. We're just rerouting power so the ticks can only feed on the FTL drive. Stand by. Releasing tick specimens.
Well, I certainly seem to have their attention.
Once you engage the drive, they should be drawn to the FTL. All systems are primed. Awaiting ignition. FTL drive engaged. Biomass FTL interaction confirmed. The ticks are affecting the drive stability.
Here goes. Stay safe, Jack.
Of course, Liv.
Anomalous readings detected.
Take care of them, Apollo.
I shall do my utmost, Captain.
Anomalous readings likely.
Good luck, Jack.
Come in, Delta Squad. Delta 6 requesting assistance. Is severely irradiated. Shell integrity currently below 60%. Secured shelter, wreckage of the Kronos 2. If you're receiving this transmission, please respond.
We have arrived. What is your status?
Core systems appear operational.
Good. We must keep in mind, this combat shell was not designed for biomass engagement. Any contact with the infestation will render us immediately inoperable.
Where should we begin searching?
Undetermined. I'll scan the area for identifiable landmarks.
I recognize this ship. It belongs to Delta Squad.
I would no longer qualify this as a ship.
Kronos 2 wreckage. Currently assessing biotorpedoes in the area.
There's that transmission again. I recognize this unit as Delta 6.
Interesting. It appears this Delta 6 has already located several torpedoes. Reaching their location may be our most expedient option.
Is it possible to make contact from here?
Negative. There's too much interference in the signal. We should first clear ourselves of this debris, then see if the signal strengthens. However, we should check your equipment before we go. I will do my best to keep this expedient. Let's begin with your shielding. This unit has been optimized for combat scenarios and is capable of regenerating its shield without the use of external chargers. However, a significant delay is required for the process to begin after sustaining damage. You may need to exercise patience.
Understood.
Next is your armament. This unit is equipped with an M19C repeater, designation Pulsar. Jack, are you comfortable wielding a firearm?
I'm accustomed to operating new tools. I'm certain learning to use this armament will be no different.
Very well. I shall construct a brief simulation so that you may familiarize yourself with the device. Your armament is now unlocked. Open fire on the targets. Targets eliminated. Unfortunately, should we encounter ticks, it is unlikely they will be quite so docile. These targets should provide a close approximation to tick activity. As such, successfully hitting a given target may require you to aim ahead of its movement. The ionized bolts of your armament are surprisingly slow, though I suppose that is acceptable for weaponry of this century. Jack, fire continuously at this last target. Make no consideration for accuracy. Overheat detected. Notably, each firing of your weapon causes a portion of energy insufficient time to cool, this buildup will exceed maximum operating temperature, leading to an emergency venting cycle.
Can this be averted?
Yes, firing in controlled bursts is the most efficient way to do so. However, you may use the button on your wrist to manually vent any heat within the unit. But this choice should be made tactically. The weapon will remain inoperable while venting.
Understood.
Excellent. Lastly, we need to inspect your threat scanner.
It's what we'll use to scan the biomass's base genetic material, correct?
Indeed. However, until we locate a viable torpedo, we shall instead rely on its original functionality, identifying nearby hostiles. To that end, I have optimized the device's settings to our mission parameters. Once activated, it will emit a single sensor pulse, followed by a brief recharge cycle. Try doing so now. Hostile identified. A tick just beyond the bulkhead. It appears dormant for the time being.
Can it be avoided?
Given the surrounding topography, no. Though your strategy is sound, armament from this era won't be particularly effective against any form of the biomass.
Very well. I am ready to engage. Can you unlock the harness?
Done. Now that you are free, I must advise, operating your firearm will produce substantial recoil. I strongly encourage you to brace by maintaining a firm grip on nearby surfaces.
Acknowledged.
The wreckage ahead contains a shielded view pane. It should offer full protection while allowing us to identify the source of radiation.
The Estrella appears to be the source of radiation.
The main reactor. I estimate it will continue burning for several months. That sudden dispersion of energy was quite effective. The debris field ahead offers far less protection from radiation. Extra precaution will be needed to stay out of the light. Furthermore, I am detecting a significant biomass presence. I strongly advise frequent use of your threat scanner to plan an optimal route.
Acknowledged.
Shields at 95%.
Given that they began investigating the torpedoes in close proximity, that result is highly probable.
An energy pulse from the anomaly.
Is it still stable?
I believe so, at least relatively. Nonetheless, we should remain focused on finding the torpedo if we hope to do so before the anomaly collapses. Shields at 50%. There is a faint distress signal emitting from a cavern just ahead. Its frequency is similar to Delta 6's earlier transmission. We should investigate. Shields at 95%. Distress signal located.
It's a CubeSat, one of Delta Squad's recon units.
It appears to be in need of our support.
Delta Unit, I'm picking up your signal in proximity to Reconnaissance Satellite 3. Is that you, 13?
Jack, we have insufficient time for complications. We should keep our relation to this combat unit as simple as possible. I will conduct all communication with you privately, and I must insist we maintain the persona of Delta 13.
Very well, Apollo. Delta 6, this is Delta 13. I read you. ReconSat 3 was engaged by multiple hostiles. I moved to assist.
I see. 13. Your return is peculiar, but appreciated. It appears ReconSat 3 would not have survived its perimeter sweep without your aid. So, what is your status? Is your pod operational?
Affirmative. All systems nominal. Rally at your position.
ReconSat 3 will lead the way. Destination, Kronos 2 Bridge. I will require your assistance in assessing the bio-torpedoes.
Acknowledged. We are en route. 13 out.
Well done, Jack. Your replication of tactical speech was convincing.
My experiences with Liv have taught me many things. It would appear that improvisation is one of the most useful.
Agreed.
ReconSat 3, I can see your signal light from here. Proceed with caution. There are hostiles. Reports from the anomaly. Delta 13, status. Are you experiencing malfunctions again?
Negative. No malfunctions detected.
Acknowledged. Proceed with caution. There are hostiles in the area.
Understood.
13. It appears you have arrived here intact. Well done.
We need to locate the torpedoes as soon as possible.
Thank you, Delta 6. We should continue our mission immediately.
Agreed. Primary objective, threat assessment of the hostile devices. Secondary objective, establish a warning beacon for passing vessels.
You are unable to reboot, correct? Perhaps I should take the primary objective.
Agreed. A further encounter with the bio-torpedoes would likely result in operational failure on my part. However, I can still provide some assistance. By leveraging the Kronos 2 systems, I have already performed a sensor sweep. In doing so, I have identified a large number of active torpedoes in a nearby clearing. The results are available here, on the holotable, if you wish to review them.
Can you push the objective to my ARM computer?
Affirmative. I've also included the clearing's coordinates as the associated location marker, should you need.
Acknowledged.
It appears you have already departed in the correct direction. Peculiar. I will begin efforts toward our secondary objective shortly. Report back here once you have completed your assignment.
Copy that.
Interference from the Astraea's radiation will continue beyond the arrival of the Ithaca. It is unlikely Delta 6's secondary objective will be accomplished.
We are fortunate to have their assistance, though. Locating torpedoes has saved us considerable time.
Agreed. The alignment of our objectives is fortunate indeed.
Apollo, if Delta Squad was not able to safely perform their assessment, how will we collect our data on the base genetic material?
Unlike the rest of Delta Squad, you have my assistance. I will bring the entirety of my electronic countermeasure suite to bear against the torpedoes. I am certain I will be able to disable their proximity detonators.
Fair enough. I suppose an advanced tactical AI is quite capable of tipping the scales.
Indeed. To that end, I shall now reconfigure your threat scanner for inspecting the torpedo incubators. Stand by. Reconfiguration complete. Your threat scanner should now be able to generate a detailed mapping of the biomass's base genetic material, though the range of the instrument has been somewhat diminished.
I suppose that's a trade-off we'll have to accept.
Indeed. The anomaly is becoming more active. We need to hurry. Dr. Harlan and the captain may be close to having expended the fuel cell.
Apollo, I've located a torpedo. Is this close enough to scan? Apollo, is this range sufficient for a scan?
It should suffice. However, the torpedo's shielding is denser than anticipated. For a successful scan, it appears we'll need to expose the base genetic material. I believe that by interfacing with the torpedo, I should be able to reveal the incubator at the forward end.
Do you need me to do anything?
Possibly. I cannot be certain until I have actually accessed the torpedo systems. I advise maintaining full tactical readiness.
Understood.
I will begin once you designate the incubator for scanning.
Incubator reached.
Are you ready to begin?
Yes.
Interfacing now. This is more complex than I had.
Apollo?
The torpedo's defense protocols have activated. It has locked the incubator and is attempting to power its main drive. It's beginning launch procedures. I will stall for as long as possible.
How much time do we have?
Not long enough to discuss it. I'm opening access hatches on the front end.
Override activated.
Perfect. Take care of the one on the opposite side as well.
Second override activated.
Well done, though the launch procedure is still online. Perhaps we can overheat the main drive. Enabling maintenance mode gave us access to the torpedo's cooling cells. Remove them. The cells are locked behind protective pouch. Lower it.
Cells removed.
Perfect. You will need to remove the second array on the opposite side as well.
Additional cells removed.
The drive is beginning to overheat. The launch sequence is still active.
Main drive destroyed.
Launch sequence averted. That finally did it. I am able to unlock the incubator now. And we should do so quickly. It appears we may not have much time.
Incubator exposed.
Excellent. We should begin the scan immediately. Scanning.
Apollo?
Imprinting now. It should not be much longer. Just a moment longer.
Apollo!
Data secured. Well done, Jack.
I suppose now we should simply wait for the anomaly's collapse.
I believe so, yes. It does appear to be fairly unstable at this point. I estimate no more than a few minutes remaining.
Very well.
Perhaps there is a way we could signal the Doctor and Captain Rose that we are ready to return.
Were that viable, I would have expected them, or you, to have already suggested a means for doing so.
Certainly. However, I was attempting to prompt one of your creative solutions.
I see. The anomaly is going to close any moment now.
Preparing for return displacement. Jump imminently. Jack, are you here as well?
Surprisingly, yes.
Surprising indeed. Our plan was developed under the requirement that the anomaly's collapse would return us to 2537. Had this outcome appeared likely, I would have developed a contingency.
Could the Doctor and Liv reopen the anomaly?
Uncertain, but the probability is low. The necessary resources were almost undoubtedly consumed just to reach this point. And without you, I don't believe they have a safe means for gathering more.
13. Now that the anomaly has subsided, I have run an additional test of the beacon. Radiological interference is still too significant. Nonetheless, the beacon is prepared to transmit continuously once the radiation subsides. As such, I am now shifting my priority back to the primary objective. What is the status of your assessment?
Assessment complete.
Well done. Unfortunately, our lack of extended-range communication leaves us unable to deliver your work to Titan Command. Therefore, we must adapt the message in the auto protocol. Report back to me in the activation bay so that we may discuss the details.
Jack, assisting Delta 6 may be our best solution at this point. Both of Delta Squad's objectives are still viable, though unlikely. The radiation may subside in time for the beacon to warn Ithaca.
And if it doesn't?
Then we follow protocol.
The message in a bottle protocol.
Yes, it is a standardized Atlas procedure. In short, Delta 6 intends to store our assessment in a secure device until it can be recovered.
That information would disrupt the events of this timeline.
That is the intention, to prepare humanity to defeat the biomass sooner.
But then what happens to Liv?
We have no way of knowing. Our own limited experiences are the only concrete information we have regarding time travel. Simply put, there are too many confounding factors to even make an assessment.
I see.
It is, however, possible that once events here stabilize, we will be able to obtain help in returning to the future. Therefore, I advise we wait until the Ithaca or other Atlas personnel arrive. We can then reevaluate.
Very well, then we wait. I will inform Delta.
13. I did not receive a response. Copy.
Copy, Delta 6. I'm en route.
Copy. 6 out. 13. You've returned. Let me know when you are ready to commence.
One of my old Series 11 shells.
It appears to be in functional condition. Given the surrounding damage, that is impressive.
Let's begin.
Very well. Your new shell is right over there, awaiting your transfer.
My new shell.
Correct. Protocol dictates we should place the assessment data in the most secure storage solution available, Tier 6 or higher. That Series 11 shell should do nicely.
That should make waiting for the Ithaca far simpler.
Understood, 6. I will transfer when ready.
Acknowledged. I will attempt further optimization of the beacon in the meantime.
I'll prepare the transfer. Initiate through your ARM computer when you're ready.
Feedback received. Transfer appears complete. Please confirm, 13.
I am online.
Acknowledged. You are now integrated into the activation bay's power grid, which I have connected to a mobile reactor. It should provide ample power for both you and the beacon, especially once you've engaged your hibernation protocol. I will do my best to keep you and the power supply safe.
Acknowledged. Delta 6, will you let me know if the anomaly reappears?
Peculiar, though prudent. Very well. Initiate hibernation when ready.
I've set the protocol for timed disengagement so that we may awaken for the Ithaca's approximate arrival.
Excellent. It is unlikely anyone else will arrive in the meantime.
Indeed. Ready when you are, Jack.
Good luck, Delta 13.
And wait. Hopefully. There we go.
SCI Ithaca, automated nav transponder. Vessel entering Saturn orbit. Preparing for course correction burn. Destination, Earth. End of transmission.
Status?
Unfortunately, it appears the radiation has not yet subsided. Unless Delta 6 managed to improve the beacon, the Ithaca will not be warned.
Delta 6, this is Delta 13. What is your status? Delta 6, status.
I'm not picking them up on sensors either. However, there is a high-gain broadcast coming through. From the Ithaca. I'll patch it in.
SCI Ithaca automated nav transponder. Correction burn initiating. 3, 2,
that blue dot over there, it just exploded.
The vessel is passing by on its way to Earth.
And there.
Then, as anticipated, the beacon has failed. Effectively, we are witnessing the origin of the biomass outbreak.
Correct. This does appear to be the final moment from which the ensuing series of events could be changed. A tipping point, if you will.
What should we do now?
Without Delta-6, delivering our data on the base genetic material is far less tenable.
How so?
Simply put, we are back to not knowing what happens next. An Atlas team could arrive within the hour, or within a year.
Or never.
Precisely. Delta-6 would have been able to assist such a team in finding us while we're in hibernation. But without that, we must err on the side of extreme caution.
How long can we remain in hibernation?
The main issue is the lifespan of that mobile reactor. At current operation, it should last roughly 50 years. If we were to minimize the beacon's output, we could last roughly 500 years. But then I doubt anyone would find us.
I agree. The odds of someone discovering us would be quite low. But what if someone knew to look? If they wouldn't give up on looking?
Captain Rhodes.
Exactly. If we hibernated till 2537...
She will search for us once we fail to return. In fact, if we altered the beacon's message to one she would uniquely recognize...
and time its broadcast to resume when she would start searching...
then we should be easily found, with power to spare. Pausing beacon now. I'll set it to resume shortly after when we would have disappeared. Beacon set. The next time we awaken, it should be due to Captain Rhodes having received our message. Initiate hibernation when you're ready.
Earth has been quarantined. Passage to and from is prohibited until further notice.
Jack, listen.
Message to all colonies. Do not, I repeat, do not attempt passage to Earth. Any and all traveling vessels, avert course to your nearest off-world settlement. All passage to and from Earth is prohibited until further notice.
It's a distress call from Earth.
And not the only one. I'm intercepting countless transmissions from ships disobeying orders. Fleeing Earth.
The infection is spreading.
Indeed. The outbreak is already well underway. We should conserve energy, Jack. Reinitiate hibernation when you're ready.
Apollo, what is happening?
We're passing through a debris cloud. It is mostly comprised of smaller particulates of rock and ice. But sensors indicate a denser cluster on collision course.
Can you estimate the severity of the impact?
There is a high probability of collision, however. The trajectory places the affected area outside our immediate position. We will experience some impact tremors, but this bay should provide adequate protection.
Impact imminent. Collision event in 3, 2, 1.
Tremors subsiding. Minimal damage to the activation bay.
You were saying?
The impact appears to have destroyed the mobile reactor.
We still have 200 years before we reach Liv in Harlan. How long will our remaining power sustain us?
My revised estimate gives us about a decade before full power loss, even in your system's suspended state. Our only option now is to initiate a complete shutdown, to leave all remaining power for the beacon when it restarts in Harlan's time.
Is there no other way to provide sufficient power?
Negative. With the reactor destroyed, I believe this is our only option. But as long as the distress call reaches the Doctor and Captain, they can retrieve the shell and transfer your preserved memory core. Good luck, Jack. Disabling all non-essential subsystems. Goodbye.
Apollo.
Shields at 30%.
Brilliant. Cheers.
Wait. It's rebooting. It's like loading everything as we speak.
Initialize neural matrix transfer. Verify hardware connection. Okay. Mapping core protocols to target.
How much longer?
The transfer should go much faster now that we've finally isolated his core protocols.
Atlas Intelligence Systems. Artificial Neural Matrix version 11.312. Initialize boot sequence.
This is it. I think he's waking up. Jack?
It worked. I did it.
Well, you certainly did something.
The scan data. Did you?
Yeah, we got it.
Dr. Harlan is already in the lab developing a countermeasure.
Been up there for hours now. I think you gave him a lot to unpack. You did good, Jack. Come on out. We'll see how it's going.
The anomaly. It collapsed.
Yes, we suspected as such.
I don't know what happened.
It was us. We fried the FTL. We wanted to give you as much time as we could. But we let it run too hot for too long.
It appears they've already started another test. We'll have to wait until they finish.
Right. When it happened, you know, when the FTL collapsed, I thought...
You thought we'd failed.
I thought I'd lost you. I was almost okay, you know? With being stuck in this crappy future. So long as it was you and me. But when I saw that FTL burn out, and you didn't come back, just... don't ever do that to me again.
I'll do my best.
Stand by. I'll unseal the door.
Narrow the operational wavelength, point the laser and instruments, and run the module again.
Affirmative. Stand by.
Dr. Harlan.
You're here.
Surprisingly, yes.
Well, you've been nothing if not surprising.
Where are we on the cure?
I was right. The data your android retrieved from the past was precisely what we needed to complete the gene sequence. We're running one more test to be sure. But I think we may have a solution.
That was fast.
From where I'm sitting, it's about 4 centuries overdue.
I would think by now we can all agree time is a relative construct.
What's that?
New parameters are set. We're ready to run the next test.
Do it. Give me real-time status on the monitors. This is it.
Treatment successful.
It worked.
It worked.
Just like that?
It's right there on the monitor. Zero metabolic activity. We did it.
Congratulations, Doctor.
We should refrain from celebrating just yet. We still need to determine how the treatment affects human subjects.
You really think there's that big of a risk?
It's possible. We can't know for certain until we conduct a proper test.
Apollo's right. We need to run a human trial. Juno, prep the bed. I'll feed you the parameters.
Affirmative, Doctor.
What do you think you're doing?
Taking my medicine.
Shouldn't we at least discuss it first?
There is no discussion. I have to be the one. Chasing down this cure has been my life's work.
Right. And if something goes wrong, we're going to need your brain to fix it.
Captain Rhodes is right, Doctor. If you die, no one here would be able to carry on your work.
It's got to be me.
I agree. Liv is the more rational choice. However, under the circumstances, I find myself compelled to ignore rationality.
It's okay, Jack. This is the right call.
Juno, retract the emitter array.
Tell me how this is going to work?
We expose the biomass in your system to a low-level energy pulse of a very specific wavelength. Absorbing this energy will effectively terminate the biomass's metabolic processes, causing it to wither and die.
Think of it like a self-destruct command embedded in the biomass's base DNA.
Whoever designed it knew what they were creating and wanted a way to stop it if it ever got out of control.
Is this going to hurt?
If I said yes, would it change your mind?
Okay. Let's do it.
I want to take a moment to triple check the math before we begin.
Whatever you have to do.
I'll let you know when we're ready. Juno?
Yes, of course.
Jack, give me your hand. It's okay to be scared.
Was that intended for you or me?
Yes. Jack, look at me.
Hold on, guys. I'll be right back.
This is going to work. Oh God, now don't you start. Go on. It'll be alright.
Captain Rhodes, we're ready if you are.
I'm good. Let's go.
Confirmed. Initiating counterpulse emission now.
Oh,
Liv,
it's alright. I'm okay.
Vital signs are stable. Metabolic pathways in the infected cells are failing.
It's working.
Oh,
Cellular saturation in 10 seconds.
are you sure you're all right?
yeah. Yeah, I'm good.
5 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
That's it. Shutting down.
Liv, are you all right?
I'll say one thing. I'm never going to complain about those fabricators again. Well, what's the story? Did it work?
Go ahead. Tell her.
Infection cleared.
Oh my God.
All traces of the biomass forms have been neutralized.
Apollo, is it acceptable to celebrate now?
It certainly appears so, yes.
Harlan, thank you.
Yes. Well, good then. So long as we are just floating here, do you mind if we keep walking? Now that we know the counterpulse works, we should start working on better ways to administer it.
Harlan?
We'll need both focused and wide dispersion methods.
Dr. Harlan,
Let's draw up some schematics and feed them to the fabricators.
I already have a number of ideas that I think could serve.
What?
The treatment, Harlan? You still have to undergo the procedure.
Right. Yes, of course.
Juno, can you prep the bed for another dispersion?
it's already done.
Very well.
Would you like Jack to hold your hand as well?
Start the procedure.
Very well. Stand by.
Harlan, are you alright? Juno.
Vitals nominal. Blood pressure slightly elevated, but still within acceptable limits. Heart rate 103 and rising.
Harlan?
Keep going.
Blood pressure spiking.
10 seconds to cellular saturation.
Something's wrong.
5 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
That's bad.
Shutdown.
Vital stabilizing.
I've had worse experiences. Though at the moment I can't really think of any.
Harlan,
What?
Captain Rhodes?
What is it? What's wrong?
It didn't work. The biomass survived the treatment.
Harlan,
Juno, get me out of here.
I'll reset the biobed. We can try again.
No,
Perhaps the metrics were somehow altered between the two tests.
Juno.
Or maybe some cases simply require more than one cycle before clearing.
Juno, stop.
this isn't right. The treatment should have cleared both of us.
Apollo,
Yes, Doctor.
the biomass sample we were testing earlier, where was it from?
That particular sample was extracted from the wreckage of the Estrella.
So it was the more primitive strain.
That is correct.
I need a specimen from this time period. Something off the station.
I believe there is a sample from the research facility already seated in the cradle.
Rotate the sample into position.
Affirmative.
Alright, run the test again. Same parameters as before.
Understood. Ready to execute.
Do it.
Oh.
It's working. The sample is withering.
Wait.
Treatment. Ineffective.
Yeah, you don't say.
Apollo, analysis.
I'm still parsing the data, but it would appear the treatment only managed to temporarily suspend the biomass's metabolic pathways, rather than terminate them.
The future strain's resisting the treatment.
Correct. The treatment eliminates the biomass from the past, but any form from this time period, it will only paralyze. Though at the moment, I can only speculate as to why this might be the case.
It's because it evolved. The biomass in the Estrella is still developing, still vulnerable. But the strain from this time period has been running rampant for 4 centuries. Nora was right. There really is no stopping it.
We're too late.
Only by about 100 or 200 years.
So that's it. We failed.
We didn't fail.
Harlan?
Does he want us to follow him?
I have no idea. But I'm going to. Harlan?
We didn't fail. We just learned something new. We learned there's a window. A certain point in time when the biomass was still vulnerable, when it could be stopped.
Yeah, that point's long past.
You're right. If only we had some way to try.
Alright guys, that's gonna be the end for part 3 of the second half. Part 4 will be coming up, and part 4 will probably be the end of this Lone Echo 2. So yeah guys, so hopefully y'all have a good day, and remember, this channel is a good channel. Bye guys.